Have you ever stopped to calculate how much of your mental energy is being spent on people who wouldn't even show up to your funeral? Let that question sink in for just a moment, because the answer might be the most terrifying truth you've never confronted. We live in an era where we are constantly performing. We curate our lives for an audience. We post photos, share updates, and wait for the validation that comes in the form of little red hearts and thumbs-up icons. But here's the uncomfortable reality nobody wants to admit. Most of those people scrolling past your carefully constructed highlights don't actually care. In fact, they're so consumed with their own performance that they barely register yours. Think about the last time you made a decision based on what others might think. Did you choose a career path because it would impress your parents? Did you post that vacation photo because you wanted to make your ex jealous? Did you avoid speaking up in a meeting because you were afraid of sounding stupid? These are not small, insignificant choices. Every compromise for approval is a betrayal of your authentic self. The philosopher Seneca once wrote about the importance of guarding our time as if it were a precious commodity. He argued that we are not given a short life, but we make it short by wasting so much of it on trivial matters. And what could be more trivial than the fleeting, fickle opinions of people who have no stake in your happiness? Here is the brutal truth that most self-help gurus will never tell you, because it doesn't sell books or courses. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you think they are. You are the main character in your own movie, but to everyone else, you are just an extra in the background of theirs. This realization can be deeply humbling, but it can also be profoundly liberating. Why would you sacrifice your peace of mind for the approval of people who are too busy worrying about their own problems to genuinely invest in yours? Think about the people you truly care about. Your closest friends, your family, the mentors who have shaped your life. Now contrast that with the vast ocean of acquaintances, followers, and complete strangers whose opinions you have been carrying like dead weight. Here is what I want you to do right now. Close your eyes and imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that you no longer cared about what anyone else thought of you. Not in a narcissistic, sociopathic way, but in a way that finally allows you to breathe. Freedom begins where the need for approval ends. What would change about your life? What would you start doing that you've been too scared to attempt? What would you stop doing that has been draining your spirit? Can you even picture the person you would become if you stopped living for the applause of the crowd? This isn't about becoming arrogant or dismissive of others. It's about understanding that your energy is finite. Every single day, you wake up with a certain amount of fuel in your tank. And every time you obsess over what someone posted on social media, every time you replay an awkward interaction in your head, every time you adjust your behavior to fit in, you are burning that fuel on something that gives you nothing in return. Let's be practical for a moment. There is a concept in cognitive psychology called the spotlight effect. It refers to our tendency to overestimate how much other people are paying attention to us. Research has shown that we believe our mistakes and successes are far more noticeable than they actually are. The truth is, people are so focused on themselves that they often don't even register what we're doing. So why are we living our lives as if we're under constant surveillance? Now, some of you might be thinking, but wait, don't I need to care about what others think in order to be a good person? Don't I need to be empathetic? Don't I need to consider how my actions affect others? And you're absolutely right. Empathy and consideration are essential human virtues. But there's a massive difference between caring about others and being controlled by their opinions. One is a virtue. The other is a prison. Have you ever noticed how the most respected people in history were often the ones who refused to bend to the expectations of the crowd? Think about the people you admire. I'm not talking about influencers or celebrities who have built their entire identity around public validation. I'm talking about real human beings who have made a difference. They didn't change the world by trying to please everyone. They changed it by staying radically committed to their own truth, even when the entire world was shouting at them to stop. Your life is not a dress rehearsal. This is not a practice round. Every day you spend seeking approval from people who don't matter is a day you steal from yourself and from the people who actually love you. The ones who will be there when the applause dies down. The ones who will help you pick up the pieces when your curated image inevitably crumbles. Your life is the only project that genuinely requires your full attention. And here is the beautiful irony of this entire conversation. When you finally stop caring so much about what others think, something magical happens. You actually become more likable. Authenticity is magnetic. When you stop performing, people can finally meet the real you. And the real you, the messy, imperfect, beautifully complex human being you actually are, is infinitely more interesting than the carefully curated persona you've been trying to project. So here's the practical challenge I'm laying down for you today. For the next 30 days, I want you to experiment with radical self-focus. Every time you catch yourself worrying about what someone else thinks of you, I want you to pause and ask yourself one question. Does this person pay my bills? Do they hold my future in their hands? Do they truly love me unconditionally? If the answer is no, let it go. Just drop it like the dead weight it is. What if you redirected all that wasted energy into becoming the person you've always wanted to be? This isn't selfishness. This is survival. This is sanity. This is the only way to build a life that actually feels like yours. The world is full of noise. There are billions of opinions, billions of voices, billions of people all screaming for attention. But you only have one life, and every second you spend listening to the crowd is a second you're not listening to yourself. The loudest voice you will ever hear should be your own. Not your mother's, not your boss's, not your ex-partner's, not the strangers on the internet. The loudest voice you hear should be your own. So I'm going to ask you one final question, and I want you to sit with this for a while. If you stripped away every expectation, every fear of judgment, every desire for approval from people who don't matter, who would you actually be? That person exists. They've been waiting for you to stop performing long enough to find them. If this message resonated with you today, I want to invite you to do something that might feel uncomfortable. I want you to look at your life right now and identify one area where you have been living for someone else's approval. Just one. And I want you to make a small but meaningful change this week that moves you back into alignment with your own truth. Your life is the only project that matters. Everything else is just background noise. If this video sparked something in you, please hit that like button and subscribe to Winds of Thought for more conversations that challenge the way you see the world. And remember, nobody cares as much as you think they do. But the person in the mirror, they care more than you know.